I grew up with computers, not crops. I learned a lot of important lessons from my dad, but when to plant a field of corn and how to harvest it wasn't one of them. But my friend Robbie is an excellent farmer. Robbie's dad, Bob, is a farmer. Bob's dad was a farmer. Bob's grandfather was a farmer. Bob's great-grandfather was a farmer. Robbie's son, Trey, is now a farmer. That's 6 generations of farmers in the Beavis family. From the time Robbie was young, he worked with his dad. Before he intentionally learned anything about farming, he absorbed important skills and knowledge by following his father's example. The rhythms of their family were the rhythms of a farmer's life. So much about sowing and reaping is learned by example. Same way in your family. You learn by experience. My agenda in this series is to help you build a strong, healthy family. I want you to plant good seeds and reap an eternal harvest, lifelong followers of Jesus. The principles apply regardless of your family type, whether you have young children, grown children, no children, are a child, or have the blessing of the Lord, grandchildren. We have a promise found in Galatians 6. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. The one who sows to please his sinful nature, from that nature will reap destruction. The one who sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Now here's the promise. Let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time, God's time, the right time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Today I want to wrap up the series by answering your questions about the family farm. Now I'm not going to have you raise your hand and ask questions, because there's no telling what you might ask. And unscripted, there's no telling what I might say. So you think that's fun, and sometimes it's fun and funny, but it's also dangerous. And every time I go off script, it generates lots of emails. So I'm just going to answer questions that you already have asked. Question: how do you not produce, how do you not reproduce bad seeds that were planted in you? How do you avoid passing negative things down to the next generation? That's an important question many of you are concerned about, because your role model and your family model wasn't healthy. For some of you, an unhealthy, dysfunctional family model has been passed down for generations. You desperately want to break the cycle, but you're not sure how. Your father was a harsh, angry perfectionist. His father was the same. How do you keep from being a harsh, angry, demanding perfectionist? Your parents were alcoholic. Their parents were alcoholics. Their parents were alcoholics. For as far as you can trace, your family's full of alcoholics. How do you break the cycle? Your parents rarely showed love or affection. You know it's important, but how do you parent different? How do you become what was never modeled? You're from a broken home. Your parents were from broken home. How do you keep your marriage together and give your kids a different life? How do you avoid passing that down? Those are all incredibly serious. For some of you, there's even more at stake. Abusive behavior, physical violence, damaging words are part of your family culture. How do you end that? How do you become a different parent than your parents? It's one of the biggest fears for young adults getting married. It's a frequently asked question of couples when they start to experience trouble in their marriage and recognize the pattern. So I want to give you some principles, some things that you can do to help break the cycle. Number one, honestly admit the weaknesses in your own family's background. Now, it's easy for me to spot the weaknesses in Cindy's family. That's simple. Admitting and talking about that, no problem. Admitting the weaknesses in my own is a much different story. Cindy and I have been married more than 10 years before one day we had the conversation, recognizing tendencies and traits we brought from our families. It was a huge moment in our marriage. It's not disloyal to recognize and admit weaknesses in your family's approach to life. Recognizing that and the effect it has on you and your way of communicating is a key to moving forward. Every family is different. Some families save for the future. Some families, they spend for the now. If you are a saver who married a spender, how many know there's going to be some conflict? Some of y'all did that. Some families are very affectionate. Others are more reserved. Some families are loud when they argue. Other families are more quiet. If you come from a quiet family and your spouse is from a loud family, first time you have an argument, it's going to be a challenge. Some families are committed to church and faith. Other families have never made it a priority. Some of you are raised that you never miss church. You're there every time the doors are open. Others of you are raised where it was optional. Recognize and admit the weakness in your family. Doing that will help you understand why you act and react the way you do. Some of you couples need to have that conversation on the way home today. Don't tell your wife her family's weaknesses, admit yours. Don't tell your husband his family's faults, talk about yours. Then second, don't focus on what you won't be, focus on what you will be. If you're driving your car and you look at something on your right, your natural tendency is to pull right. The principle is you move towards what you focus on. If you focus on the negative trait you don't want to duplicate, it actually works against you and you can become the very thing you're trying to avoid. So focus on what you will be. Let me give you a few examples. Instead of I won't be harsh like my father, try I will be gentle and affirming with my family. I will be understanding and loving in moments of failure, and I will celebrate moments of success. Instead of I won't be cold and distant, try I will say I love you to every member of my family every day. I will hug them often. I will verbally express how much they mean to me. Instead of I will never get a divorce, say I will do whatever it takes to keep my marriage and family strong. I will get annual marriage checkups. I will attend classes, retreats, seminars, Wednesday night electives. I will be proactive, keeping our relationship strong. Now, that makes sense. I will never get a divorce, or I won't be harsh and demanding, are wonderful sentiments. The problem is they include absolutely no action steps to promote follow-through. Focus on what you will be, not on what you won't be. That leads me to number 3, connect to a positive role model. Now that you've identified what you want to be, find someone who is what you want to be. They're living it out. It's very difficult to be what you've never seen. You need an example to follow. Yeah, it amazes me who you people take advice from. It's unbelievable. Why would you ask someone with the same struggle to show you how to be different? Doesn't make any sense. I've watched you take financial advice from people who are hugely in debt. I've watched you take marriage advice from people with multiple failed marriages. I had somebody come to me after the last service and say, but don't you think if I failed multiple times that I have valuable advice to give about what not to do? And my answer was, who would you rather take driving advice from? Person who's had 8 wrecks or the person who's never had one? I'd rather take advice from the person who's done it well than hope that the person who's done it wrong can somehow teach me all the wrong things they did. I've watched you take advice on raising children from people whose own children are far from God. I've watched you take dating and relationship advice from people who haven't had a healthy relationship in their life. That makes absolutely no sense. If you want to be a loving, supportive father, find someone who is a loving, supportive father and learn from that. If you want a healthy marriage that lasts a lifetime, spend time with a couple whose healthy marriage is strong for years. If you want to be an understanding, flexible mom, spend time with an understanding, flexible mom. If you want to raise kids who are lifelong followers of Jesus, find someone whose kids are living for Jesus. Don't ask for advice from people who don't know how to do it. This weekend, Cindy's gone at a family wedding. Obviously, I couldn't go. I'm here. And so Friday night, I needed to eat. And I know you're like, oh, we didn't know you required that. I do. And I'm not very handy around the kitchen, but I've watched Cindy before we use our air fryer. And so I thought, I can do this. I can nail this. Learned a couple things. I learned, number one, you don't have to preheat an air fryer. Who knew? I just thought you did. And then I figured out how to turn it on. For the life of me, I could not turn it off. Could not figure out what would turn that thing off. I tried and tried. So I asked Timothy, how do you turn off an air fryer? Well, he's stupid. He doesn't know. Why would I ask air fryer advice from a guy who doesn't know how to do it? From a guy, period, but a guy who doesn't know how to use an air fryer. I needed to find an air fryer expert. Now, let me just pause and say, I know some of you are going to want to come give me some helpful air fryer tips. Please don't. I'm traumatized, and I don't plan to ever use it again. Okay? You don't want to know how it turned out. It's just, I'm going to help us all and never try. Get advice from someone who succeeded. And you say, well, that's great, but where do I find them? I'm so glad you asked. It's one huge reason you need to be strong and deeply connected to a church family. You can find that here. I love online church, but that's one of the things lacking in online church is you don't get to develop relationships with role models. That's why I challenge you to get involved beyond just showing up just when service starts and leaving as soon as it's over. You need to get in relationship with other people. That happens when you serve in ministry together, or you sing in the choir together, or you attend a Bible study together, or a connection class together, when you work together in preschool ministry, or you come for a lunch. When you do that, look for people who model what you want to be and develop relationships with them. You need a church family to help you build a strong family. You say, well, how do I build a relationship? You go to them and say, I really want to be a good dad, and you seem like a really good one. Can I buy you lunch and learn from you? And if you've got more life experience, read that to be, if you're old or older, I hope you're picking up on this. We need you here and involved. You are an invaluable resource to this church family. Single adults need your encouragement in their careers and relationships. Newlyweds need your example of faithfulness and love for the long haul. Young moms need older moms to ensure them that the terrible twos won't last forever and one day they'll sleep again. Young fathers need older dads to show them love and lead their children. We need grandparents and senior saints to show us the way and to encourage us. You might say, well, like my mom and dad was talking to them last night. They said, we're in our 80s. We can't do much anymore. I said, this is the most important time you can help your church. You can cheer for change. You can be the ones who are supportive of everything that helps reach the younger generation. You can lead the way. Now you're not leading the way by doing. Now you're leading the way by approval and influence. And that's powerful. Number 4, I may have mentioned this a few hundred times since I've been pastor. Ask for help. If your lawnmower is broken, you can't fix it. You find someone who knows how to fix lawnmowers because your lawnmower is important to you. You want your grass to look good and you want to be better than your neighbors. If your computer isn't working and you can't fix it, you take it to be repaired because you can't imagine living without it. You take it to a repair person, you bring it here to Pastor Nick, our online pastor. He loves to help people fix stuff, and you can bring it to him and he'll help you. Why do you do that? Your computer matters. If your car breaks down, you take it to a mechanic. You don't wait or delay. You get help as soon as you can because your car is important to you. You got to take your kids to school. You got to get to work. If there's trouble in your family, something broken, your parents, your kids, or in your marriage that isn't getting better, you decide, well, I can't tell anyone about it. We can't let anyone know we're having problems. We'll figure it out. We'll fix it on our own. which makes no sense. If you broke it, what makes you think you can fix it? If your relational skills got it that way, how are your relational skills going to get it another way? You have this thought in mind, well, if we don't talk about it, if we don't fight about it, it will all work out. It will solve itself. You wouldn't do that with your lawnmower. I know it doesn't start, but I'll just leave it here in the corner of the garage. I'll check it out next week. If we leave it alone long enough, it'll fix itself. You wouldn't do that with your computer. I know there's nothing but a blue screen, but let's not mess with it. Let's not make the computer mad by opening up that whole issue again. Let's just look at the blue screen. If we do it long enough, you watch, everything will go back to normal because everyone knows time heals all computers. You wouldn't do that with your car. I know there's something leaking on the ground and there's a weird noise, but let's not make an issue out of it. Let's do this. This week, everyone be real quiet around our car. Let's not do anything to tick it off. Let's not offend it. It will quit leaking. The noise will stop. If we ignore it long enough, it'll fix itself. Now, I know it's been making that noise for 2 years, but if we wait another year, you watch. It's foolish to think that with time your lawnmower will be okay. You got to deal with it. It's foolish to think your computer will miraculously get better. You have to get it fixed. It's foolish to expect your car to heal itself. It requires help. Are you getting the picture? What matters to you more? Your lawnmower, your computer, your car, or your family? I talk to people and they say, well, we don't have time to get counseling. Really? Got time for divorce? Or we can't afford counseling. Have you checked how much divorce attorneys cost? Don't yell out. That won't help your marriage. Typically, starts about $5,000. Let me just help you. Divorce attorney starting at $5,000. Counselor starting at $100. Quit letting your pride be more important than your marriage or your family. Quit trying to put on a happy show for other people while you're falling apart. That's foolish. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm trying to elevate your priority of your family. It just makes sense. When our boys were little, one day we got a babysitter. Now, this has been a few years because we're old. We got a babysitter and we paid the babysitter. And when we were done, I told Cindy, I said, now, do you realize this week we paid more to get our lawn mowed than we paid someone to watch our boys? I said, that doesn't make any sense. We don't care about our grass. Why would we pay more for somebody to cut the grass than we would to care for the most precious thing we have? I said, from now on, let's never have a babysitter that we pay less than we pay to get the yard mowed. So we paid babysitters a lot. We didn't have them so often, but we valued them. You got to elevate things in your priorities. When something's broke, ask for help. And ask before it's an emergency. Ask for help before the police are called. Ask for help before you file for divorce. Ask for help before you kick your kid out. Most of the time, we need to see you right now means we should have seen you 6 months ago. And you didn't because of your stinking pride. And now you have an emergency because you didn't deal with it. And we're supposed to drop everything and rush to you right then. Get help. Here's some good places. Solo for single moms. Family Builders for parents. Better Together for young couples. Iron Men, helping build better husbands and fathers. Blended Families for step families. Celebrate Recoveries for those struggling with addiction or codependency issues. Get help. Number 5, offer accountability. Give someone permission to ask you the tough questions. If you're trying to be positive instead of harsh, tell your friend. If you hear me and I sound harsh, interrupt me. Fix it. If you're trying to spend time with your family, have a friend ask, how many hours did you spend with your family this week? Offer accountability. It's a key for growth and change. Number 6, ask God for supernatural help and ask others to pray with you. I've got good news. With hard work, intentional effort, help from others, and supernatural help from God, you really can break the cycle in your family. I want you to hear the testimony of my friend Shelby. Watch.
From birth, I never knew my dad. It was never a part of my life. I knew of him, saw pictures of him, but never got to meet him. You know, growing up, I had my mother. She was my father. Had uncles, brothers, but didn't have a father. You know, no one to teach me, you know, how to become a man, you know, how to really live life. And so it was difficult, you know, not knowing him. You know, you see everyone else with their father, you know, sports, activities, family outings, but, you know, I didn't have a father there. So for me, you know, it's a little tough, you know, not having him there. 11th grade, I signed up for the military. And I reached out to my father. I remember writing him, you know, a long letter just to let him know that, you know, going to the military when I graduate, haven't been arrested, done any drugs, don't have any kids on the way, you know, somebody you can be proud of. So I sent that letter, never heard back. I did meet family members on my father's side of the family, but just never heard back from him, never had any contact with him. Going past that into adulthood, you know, not having that father, that turned into, I don't feel like I could be a successful father because I didn't have a father to teach me how to be a father. So I didn't want to be a failure. You know, I didn't want to be lost, you know, having kids not knowing what to do. So even though I didn't have a father, with faith in God, He'll put people in your life to guide you, you know, show you the missing pieces that even though you didn't gather directly. Watching the relationship between my wife Gwen and her dad, you know, listening to her stories as they were growing up, you know, her military experience, you know, even though I didn't see them, people around me provided those pieces, you know. And like I said, God puts people in your life, you know, there's no mistake. And the people you meet, the people He surrounds you with, you know, that's what led me to become the father I am today. So now I am a father of 3 wonderful children. I've been a part of their life, their entire life. I continue to do that until the Lord calls me away. Also thankful for the opportunity God's provided me through the North Little Rock Police Athletic League, where I can mentor, you know, hundreds of young men and women who may be dealing with the same situation. Just thankful that God put people in my life to guide me on how to be a father. And I'm so thankful that He gave me the belief in myself to become a father and not be the father that I had.
You teach what you know, you reproduce what you are. It's awesome to see strengths replicated in your children, not so awesome to see weaknesses duplicated. You can't plant seeds of kindness if you're not kind. You can't plant seeds of faith, commitment, and honor if you're not faithful, committed, and honoring. Doesn't happen. Do as I say, not as I do, doesn't work. Question: how do you deal with the regrets of planning the wrong things? I was really sensitive to this question while writing this series because I realized many of you recently came to church and you've recently accepted Jesus. Your kids weren't raised in a Christian home. You planted a lot of wrong seed. Others of you are reaping a harvest from bad seed you planted in your marriage before you accepted Jesus. And you wonder, how do I make it right? How do I deal with the guilt, the shame, and the regret of planting wrong things? Hurts so bad to watch my children and my family struggle and realize I'm part of that. Let me give you 5 steps. Number 1, repent. Ask God for forgiveness. Ask God for forgiveness, but I said repent, which means also there's an involved in that is changing your way, not continuing to do the same thing. Number 2, a little more difficult, ask your family for forgiveness. If you've planted bad seed, admit it, apologize, ask your family for forgiveness. Have that conversation with your spouse or with your children. I know that seems difficult. I know that's humbling. but it's an amazing step that often reaps immediate results. Third, forgive yourself. It's hard. It's easier to forgive others than to forgive yourself, but you've got to receive God's forgiveness and apply that to the way you see yourself. If you don't, the enemy will trap you with destructive thoughts and behavior patterns that will lead to more bad seeds being planted. Number 4, be realistic. You look at your family and you say, if only I'd planted good seeds, everything would be wonderful. If only I hadn't drank, everything would be different. That may be true, but it might not be true. Even good, godly Christian parents have kids who turn their back on God. Even good, faithful Christian wives have husbands who cheat. Even good, godly Christian husbands have wives who walk out. That's because each person has a free will. They have a part to play in determining their harvest. As much as you want to, you can't force your kids to do right. You can't force your wife to stay. Pray, plant the right seeds, and then do everything you can possibly do. But some of you are just too hard on yourself. Self-blame and regret will keep you trapped in the past. Instead of living in the past, number 5, start planting good seed now. It's never too late to start planting good seed. I understand. You wish you wouldn't have planted them sooner, but you didn't. Plant them now. You can't change yesterday, but you absolutely can transform the day and change tomorrow. You can start planting good seed right now. Look back to the promise, Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. You once sowed seed to please your sinful nature. Now sow seed to please God and believe God for the harvest that he's promised. Here's the principle. You can change your harvest by changing the seed you plant. Even if you planted a lot of bad seed, God can help you reverse that harvest, and you can have a good harvest because he's faithful. Is it easy? No. Will it be quick? I don't know. But don't give up, because at the right time, God's time, you'll reap a harvest if you don't give up. Start planting good seed now, today, right now. Start planting good seed. Don't say, it's too late, they're too far gone. Because with God, there is no such thing as too far gone. There's no such thing as too late. No matter how bad, evil, a scoundrel you've been, you still have an opportunity with God to turn your life around and to make things right. He'll love you. He'll forgive you. He'll redeem your past, and he will transform your future. And he'll do that for your kids, and he'll do that for your spouse, and you can be a part of that process. Start now.